Blair Witch is directed by Adam Wingard. This is the guy that brought you You're Next. He brought you The Guest, two movies that I enjoyed, but I wasn't really over the moon about. They're cool little genre flicks. So the basic idea of Blair Witch is you got 20 years after the events of the original Blair Witch Project. You got James, who's the younger brother of Snotbubble. He gathers his college friends together for a trip to the infamous Black Hills Woods to find out what really happened to his sister. I was never a fan of the original Blair Witch Project. I think that movie is probably the most overrated horror movie ever. I think all the genius with that movie was in the marketing, not with the actual quality of the movie. Everything that was scary about that when it came out was just everybody's conversations of is it real or is it not. This movie actually had a pretty cool marketing campaign itself. It was marketed under the name of The Woods, and until they did their first public screening at Comic-Con, nobody knew what this movie was about. They expected it was just an original horror movie set in the woods. And when the first public screening, everybody went in, they had posters of the woods all over the theater. They went in not realizing they were going to see a sequel to Blair Witch, watched the movie, came out, and all the marketing materials around the theater have been changed to the Blair Witch posters. I gotta be honest, guys, I feel a lot like the people that saw that original screening, because I'm walking into the theater expecting one movie, and what I get is something completely different. The trailers, the marketing, all the buzz leads you to believe that this is a direct sequel to Blair Witch. And what you actually get is a remake disguised as a sequel. Seriously, if you take away the main character's motivation to find his sister, the 2 or 3 times that they actually mention it in the movie, and you take away all the modern technology, the movie's the same. You get to see a lot more in this movie than you did in the original Blair Witch, and I think all the lead up to the final act is a little bit more entertaining in this movie, which is something that's going to be debated. I don't think everybody's going to agree with that. But aside from those two things, the basic core of this movie, identical. It's a real shame that the writers didn't have the freedom to do something original with this. I read an interview and one of the writers said that whenever they came in to pitch this movie, Lionsgate already had the skeleton of this movie laid out. They wanted it to be a complete retread of the original story with a few new characters, and they wanted to keep it really small. And the writer's only contribution to that pitch was the 2 locals that joined the main characters about 15 minutes in. And honestly, those 2 locals bring a lot of the most interesting parts of the story. They do expand a little bit on the lore of the Blair Witch, which is cool, and I do commend them for one thing a lot, and that's them using some new technology to kind of breathe a little bit of new life into the found footage genre, which is a genre that's been done to death. They have like little Bluetooth cameras that the people wear in their ears so that they don't have to hold the camera the whole movie, which kind of gets rid of that argument everybody always has for found footage horror movies of when scary shit happens, why are they still carrying around the camera? Which, they kind of throw that logic out in the final act, but anyway, it works for the most part. And they have like a little drone camera that goes some pretty cool ideas in the movie. I like that. The characters in this movie, they're fine. None of them are really all that memorable. Nobody really gives a standout performance in this movie. I did get a few laughs out of the black couple because they're kind of the voice of reason when all the scary shit happens. There's a scene in the movie when the first person goes missing, one of the white guys in the group stands up and he's just like, "Oh man, he's gone. You think we should go look for him?" And the black guy's just like, "Nope." And the first time that they all wake up and they see the little Blair Witch dolls tied up in the trees, the black couple's like, "Oh hell no, pack that shit up, we're getting the fuck out of here." Honestly guys, the main flaw with this movie is the same main flaw that I see in just about every found footage horror movie. It seems like the writers walk into the pitch room and they have a really tight, scary, tense last 15 minutes, a good final act. And then they just kind of throw some shit in to fill in the gaps for the first hour and 15. And something that's a criticism for me personally, found footage movies don't ever scare me. A lot of times the good scares in the movie, the shaky cam just ruins it for me. The effect is gone. And as far as the scares go in this movie, aside from the last 10 to 15 minutes, like I've already said, it's a really tight final act. The rest of it is just kind of cheap jump scares. There's not really any genuine scares. It's all just noises in the woods. Not only does this movie overuse jump scares, but they use the same jump scare over and over and over again. It's always whatever character's on screen, somebody just shows up next to them, making no sound walking over to them, and when the camera pulls over to them, it's just like, "Hey man, it's the fucking woods. Nobody can walk around in the woods without being heard." They established this in the movie. Every stick, leaf that you step on makes a noise. In the end, guys, this movie is just okay. It's just okay. They do expand a little bit on the Blair Witch lore. They do some pretty neat things with modern technology to kind of break up the monotony of found footage. But beneath all that, the core of this movie is just a complete retread of the original. You know, I honestly don't think this movie is going to be that scary if you watch it at home, so for those that really do want to see it, I do recommend seeing it in theaters. However, your best bet is going to be to see this in theaters at matinee. So what did you guys think of Blair Witch? Leave your comments on the movie down below. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And if you like this review, click over here to check out some more.